we were shooting in a village that a lot of the actors from Iran kept saying how much the village looked like, you know, rural Iran from their youth, and I think that they did a good job of finding an authentic feel.
Were you born in the U.S. or?
I was born not far from this very hotel.
Oh, cool. And have you ever been to Iran? Or?
I've been once 5 years ago.
Really?
Oh, I had an amazing time. I mean, I went with my family and met family that I had not hitherto met.
Right.
And I felt that I saw. I strangely felt that I understood my parents better as people.
And in terms of all the Farsi in the film, I mean, I was born and raised here myself. I can't imagine doing so much of a film in my second language. How was that for you as well?
You know, it was a challenge, I'll be honest. I mean, I just worked on it a lot. I worked on it before we left. I worked on it every night. And also, you know, one of the interesting things about this film is that the script was written in English. And so there were a couple of Farsi translations, but a lot of the actors were kind of, you know, fiddling around with the lines, and so we had to meet before we shot, because I often didn't know what other people were going to be saying, because the script wasn't, the script was in English.
So was a lot of this improvised? I assume, especially with the older actors, they kind of worked with each other before, they have a rapport?
We worked with each other extensively when we weren't shooting, but it wasn't improvised. It was, we planned it all out, and of course Cyrus was involved.
Right, and how was the casting for all of this? It must have been an interesting way that it went about, being that you had to do this in Farsi, and how was the whole casting process?
Well, you know, at the time that they were casting it, I don't think they had solidified whether the film was going to be in English or in Farsi.
Right.
So my audition was in both languages, which is
Really?
totally crazy and funny. So and very challenging. So, I'm sorry.
So how did it go for you? Like you did it in English and you did it in Farsi
Yes,
as well?
we did it once in each language, and here I am.
Wonderful.
How hesitant were you to accept the role? This is a difficult role. Did you talk to your parents, your
I did.
boyfriend?
I did talk to my parents. I mean, my mom is a real worrywart, so anything, I mean, you know, if I cross the street, she's like, oh my God, are you going to die? Oh my God. So, of course, when I took this role, she was like, is it safe? Is it dangerous? Oh my God. But she's really proud of me, I think.
Because this is like a taboo thing. This is the first time an Iranian movie has been shot with a subject.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, and as I hear, it was on some list of films that Hollywood was asked to apologize for.
So I guess you got your Iran trip out of the way, because after this it's probably not gonna.
Yeah, that was definitely something we spoke about.
Right.
I spoke with my parents about potentially not being able to travel there again.
But it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to be in a film like this, so.
Which is why it was a difficult decision.
how was filming? Was it difficult at all? The scene that you were in?
The stoning scene?
Right.
Yes, it was difficult. It was, we shot it over 5 days, and you know, it was, I think everyone would agree that they were the most difficult days on set. And
5 days?
Mhm.
Amazing.
Wow.
Amazing.
Because I've seen actual footage of a real case. The woman was covered in shroud, white shroud. You couldn't see the face or anything. You were, I mean, you were like made up. You look great.
Thanks.
I mean, it's like fiction. That's why I say it's.
Well,
it's
I mean,
fiction. You never see this. Also, she got a chance to go to talk to her kids, and I don't think that part was, you know, rational, feasible in real life. I mean, she had ample time. And she went, let's go do it. You know, it was ready, which it didn't make sense for me.
Well, I mean, I think we do the best that we can, and we also take certain liberties as you make a film that is a drama. there are a lot of things that were in the book that were not in the movie. My character had 6 children and not 4, but you know, who wants to deal with 2 other extra children on set? That there are, we can't really ever know what goes on specifically. Like, I mean, you're saying it's not feasible, but I'm not sure
It's
that
just
that's...
the logic of it. She has
Well, I think that they give
ample
somebody time to prepare. They don't just like say, okay, you're guilty, and throw them in a home.
And once she's convicted, she has time to go and talk to her kids. That part for me was not real. I mean, in real life, you really won't get a chance. The one I saw, the woman was covered in white shroud, and I was able to look at it for 2 or 3 minutes.
Right.
But yours, I had to take my eyes off the screen for a while because I knew it wasn't real, and it was bothering me anyway. So the real one, it was chilling. I was able to watch it for 2 or 3 minutes, but the segment in the movie is so long. It's like a torture for me, for the audience.
Well,
I was asking myself, why am I sitting here?
I mean, I think I can. What I've heard from the filmmaker is that that is his intention,
Right.
to not sugarcoat something that is undeniably brutal.
You know, as an Iranian American myself, when I was watching this movie before I read this wonderful kit here, it really struck me. I thought my situation, I mean, I just was lucky enough that my dad has been here in the U.S. a long time, and I was lucky enough to be born here, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like 1 degree away from having the life of this girl. And you mentioned this in your bio, which I thought was very interesting. And I was so impressed with you and your education and your background. It's almost like the polar opposite.
Yeah.
So how is all that for you, considering, because you touched upon that earlier. How is all that? Very
Well,
impressive resume, by the way.
Thank you. That is one of the most powerful things that I realized and that I was thinking about even in my preparation for the film, because, as I said earlier, I am the polar opposite of this character. I have a completely different set of experiences and characteristics. However, it did become clear to me that, you know, that if we're really lucky. Like, if we had been, any of us, been born into a different set of circumstances, we could be that person. And so that was one of the most powerful things I realized after shooting this, or while shooting it.
Sorry, go ahead.
You go ahead.
In terms of your research for the character and the family and all that, how did that go about? Like,
Well, there aren't really other secondary source materials to do with this particular story. So, you know, I did a research about post-revolution life, Iran, the 80s, village life, that sort of thing.
and I'm sure it helped going there once in your life. It must have been, you know, kind of an eye-opening experience.
Yeah, although I didn't spend any time in any rural area.
Of course, but still, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get the flavor of the culture. And one thing also that struck me was the singing scene, and I believe reading in the press kit somewhere that you guys were at your hotels and you started singing and you had such a great rapport with each other, and it came out of that. So would you like to tell us about singing in your second language?
Yes, well, that's all very true. We were, you know, this was a rowdy bunch of actors, and we were staying in the middle of nowhere in Jordan, not even in Petra, outside of Petra, and so we really, you know, had nothing to do but sit around and have dinner with each other at the one hotel, you know, restaurant. Right. And out of this, everybody is they're a bunch of hams, and we did end up just singing at the dinner table in the hotel room quite a lot. And at one point, Shura and I talked about, you know, the activity that we would be doing in the preparation scene, and we thought, well, why not find some kind of song. And then it was actually a couple of weeks that we were like, you know, because we were in Jordan at the time, so we were on the internet and we were calling people at home, and you know, everybody was like, we need to get the right song. And then Vida Armani, the woman who plays Mrs. Masood, she came up with the lyrics.
Oh, really?
She, I think it
never
was
heard that
more like
song.
an amalgam of
songs,
songs that
Yes,
she had heard,
uh-huh.
and then she's quite a writer and a poet herself. So
Yes, she definitely is.
She
That's
came up
lovely.
with that.
What's in the future for you?
Well, there are a couple of things in the air right now, and they're being developed. I just feel very, I feel really lucky to be able to be starting my career this way.
Okay, thank you.